Welcome to Insurance World TV, the premier channel where we break down insurance and financial concepts into practical knowledge you can actually use. Today, we're diving into a topic that many Airbnb hosts in Kenya overlook until it's too late: the hidden liability risks in your short-term rental business and how one incident can cost you everything. Because let's be honest, running an Airbnb looks simple. Guests check in, money comes in, business moves. But behind that simplicity is a serious question most hosts never ask. What happens if a guest gets injured in my property? One slip, a fall, or one accident, and suddenly you're not just a host anymore. You're facing medical bills, legal claims, and financial exposure. So in this video, we're going to break down the real risks Airbnb hosts face in Kenya, why most insurance covers are not enough, and how to properly protect your business using Commercial General Liability insurance policy. Now, here's my promise to you. Stay with me until the end of this video, and you will never gamble with the liability of your Airbnb business again. Let's get into it. What is the fastest way to turn a profitable Airbnb into a financial disaster? It is not low occupancy or a slow season or even bad reviews. It is one serious guest injury claim, a slip in the bathroom, one faulty staircase, a loose railing, or one electrical fire. One guest who says, "This happened in your property, and now I want compensation." That is the moment many hosts discover a painful truth. Running an Airbnb is not just about hospitality. It is a commercial business with liability exposure. And when you are earning money from guests, the standard home insurance or domestic package insurance is usually not enough. You need a Commercial General Liability insurance. Commercial General Liability, or CGL, is designed to protect businesses from third-party bodily injury and property damage claims arising from premises and operations, and it commonly also helps with legal defense costs. In this video, we're going to break down what CGL is, why it matters so much for Airbnb entrepreneurs, what risks short-term rental hosts face, what your insurance may not cover, and how to build a proper risk management system so one guest incident does not destroy a business you have worked hard to build. Airbnb's own host protection pages also make an important distinction. Its host liability insurance is only available in certain countries. It covers legal liability to others, and it does not cover the host's own property. Chapter 1. The big mistake many Airbnb hosts make. Many first-time hosts think like homeowners. They ask, "Is the house insured?" That is the wrong question. The better question is, what happens if a guest gets hurt while using my property? Because once your home becomes a paid short-term rental, you are not just a homeowner anymore. You are operating a business, and businesses carry liabilities. Commercial General Liability insurance policy exists to cover claims where a business is alleged to have caused bodily injury or property loss or damage to third parties through premises, operations, or similar business activities. That means if a guest slips on a wet floor, trips on a loose cable, is injured by a broken fixture, or suffers damage caused by your operations, or even loses luggage and personal effects while at your premises, the claim may move from oops to legal case. A standard CGL policy is built around exactly this type of exposure. Chapter 2. What Commercial General Liability Insurance Policy actually does. Let's simplify it. Commercial General Liability is the business insurance that helps protect you when a third party says your business caused them injury or damage. In plain language, it is the cover that says, if someone outside your business gets hurt or their property is damaged because of your premises or operations, this policy may respond. The major areas commonly covered include bodily injury to third parties, property loss or damage, legal defense costs, and in some policies, medical payments and personal or advertising injury. The key point for Airbnb hosts is that commercial general liability is designed for business risk, not just domestic living risk. And that is why it matters so much. Your Airbnb may look like a home, but financially it behaves like a hospitality business. Chapter 3. Why AIRB's protection is not enough on its own. This is an important part of the conversation. Airbnb does provide host protection programs in some settings, including host liability insurance for guests or others in certain countries, and Airbnb states that this protection is for legal liability to others, not the host's own property. Airbnb also says hosts should maintain primary liability insurance appropriate for their business. That distinction matters, because if the platform's protection is limited by country, policy terms, exclusions, or the nature of the loss, then you still need your own commercial cover. A smart host does not ask, "Does Airbnb protect me?" A smart host asks, what is the gap between platform protection and real business risk? Airbnb itself signals that there is a gap by saying hosts should maintain their own liability insurance appropriate for the business. Chapter 4. The real risk exposures on Airbnb properties. Now, let us talk about the actual exposures. Guest injury claims in short-term rentals often come from ordinary things that become legal problems: wet floors, broken steps, unsafe electrical wiring, poor lighting, unsecured furniture, unstable railings, or inadequate safety signage. Commercial liability coverage is built to respond to bodily injury and property damage claims that arise from these kinds of business operations and premises issues. And the risk is not theoretical. Airbnb-related safety litigation has reached serious levels in recent years, including wrongful death lawsuits over carbon monoxide exposure. Reuters reported in 2025 that families had filed multiple lawsuits alleging fatal carbon monoxide incidents in Airbnb properties, showing how a safety issue can escalate into major legal exposure. For an Airbnb host, one injury claim can trigger several costs at once: medical expenses, legal defense, settlement negotiations, possible reputational damage, and business interruption while you figure out what went wrong. Commercial general liability is valuable precisely because it is designed to absorb many of those third-party liability costs. Chapter 5. Why commercial general liability insurance policy is a business protection tool, not just an insurance product. If your Airbnb generates income, then every booking adds to your commercial exposure. That means your insurance decision is not just about buying a policy. It is about protecting cash flow, preserving assets, and keeping the business alive after an incident. Think about it this way. A strong Airbnb business is not built only on occupancy rates and clean sheets. It is built on risk control. Commercial General Liability insurance policy helps turn unexpected injury claims from a business-ending event into a manageable insurance event. That is a very different outcome. Commercial General Liability insurance policies are specifically structured to protect businesses from bodily injury and property damage claims and to cover legal defense in covered lawsuits. So when hosts ask, "Why should I pay for a Commercial General Liability insurance policy?" the real answer is because you are not just paying for insurance. You are paying to protect the profitability of the entire business. Chapter 6: How to manage the risks properly. Insurance is one part of the answer. Risk management is the other. The best hosts do not rely on cover alone. They build a safety system around the property. Start with a property safety audit. Check floors, bathrooms, stairs, railings, lighting, sockets, appliances, smoke detectors, and emergency exits. Remove trip hazards. Fix loose fittings. Improve signage and train cleaners and co-hosts to report defects immediately. These are practical steps that reduce the likelihood of the kinds of third-party injuries Commercial General Liability policy is designed to respond to. Next, put strong house rules in place. Be clear on occupancy limits, quiet hours, kitchen use, balcony access, smoking rules, and any off-limits areas. This reduces operational confusion and helps you demonstrate that you are running the property professionally. Then create an incident response process. If something happens, know who gets called, how the guest is assisted, how the incident is documented, and how the claim is reported. In addition, maintain proper records. Good records matter. Photos, maintenance logs, incident reports, and repair receipts can be valuable if a claim ever happens. Finally, review your insurance structure every year. As your hosting income grows, your coverage should grow with it. If you add more units, more amenities, or more guest traffic, your risk profile changes and your CGL policy should reflect that. Chapter 7: What Commercial General Liability does not do. This part is critical. CGL is not a magic shield. It is powerful, but it is not unlimited. Airbnb's own host protection pages show that platform liability insurance is designed for legal liability to others, not damage to the host's own property. More broadly, CGL policies are intended for third-party bodily injury and property damage, plus related legal costs. They do not replace every other policy a host may need. That means hosts may still need separate cover for their building, contents, theft, fire, business interruption, employer liability, or specialist hospitality risks depending on the operation. In other words, CGL insurance policy is the liability backbone, but not the whole skeleton. Chapter 8: How to think like a professional host. The professional Airbnb host does not ask, "How do I avoid insurance?" They ask, "How do I build a business that can survive a huge liability claim?" That shift in mindset changes everything. It means you operate with documented safety standards. You treat guests as third-party risk exposures. You assume that incidents can happen. And you use insurance to transfer the financial consequences of those incidents. That is how hospitality becomes sustainable. And that is how a short-term rental becomes a real enterprise instead of a fragile side hustle. Conclusion: why CGL is essential for Kenyan Airbnb entrepreneurs. If you're serious about building an Airbnb business, you must think beyond occupancy and revenue. You must think about guest safety, legal exposure, business continuity, and asset protection. Commercial General Liability is important because it is designed to cover the kind of third-party bodily injury and property damage claims that can threaten a host's income and assets. Airbnb's own materials also show that platform protection is limited, country-specific in some cases, and not a substitute for a host's own business-appropriate liability insurance. So the message is simple. Do not wait for an injury claim to teach you the value of this insurance policy. Build the protection before the crisis. Because in hospitality, profit is not just about what you earn. It is about what you keep after things go wrong. If this video helped you understand the role of commercial general liability in Airbnb hosting, share it with another host who needs this information. And subscribe to Insurance World TV, because here we do not just talk about money or insurance. We teach you how to protect both.